Welcome back to the deep dive. Our mission today is, well, it's customized specifically for you. We are jumping right into the core of your source material.
That's right.
We're going to be extracting the most crucial, actionable intelligence on how you can manage blood sugar through diet and lifestyle. So if you're looking to stabilize your energy, maybe get rid of those mid-afternoon slumps and really flatten that blood sugar curve, this deep dive is your direct route.
And that mission is just so important because for anyone focused on metabolic health, especially if you're managing diabetes or prediabetes, the number one goal is really about speed control.
Speed control, I like that framing.
It's all about preventing your blood sugar from spiking too quickly after you eat. Those fast, traumatic rises.
Yeah.
That's what causes all the problems. The cellular stress, the long-term complications.
So we're essentially teaching the body how to process its fuel in a more measured, predictable way.
That's it, exactly.
Okay, that makes the task crystal clear. It's not just what you're eating, but how fast that energy gets released. So let's unpack the foundational principles. Across all the research we looked at when we're trying to find the best foods for stabilizing blood sugar, what are the, say, 3 non-negotiable components we should always be looking for?
You're looking for a nutritional trio. Think of it like a unified metabolic defense system.
Okay.
Those 3 components are fiber, protein, and healthy fats.
Fiber, protein, and healthy fats, the big 3.
If a food has a good amount of one, or ideally all 3 of them, it's a powerful tool. And the reason is just simple mechanics.
Mechanics?
Yes. These 3 components physically interfere with the rapid absorption of glucose. They force that slow energy release that we're looking for.
So you're saying it's almost like creating mechanical friction in your gut. The fiber and fat literally slow down the whole digestive assembly line.
Precisely. Think of fiber as providing the bulk and the physical delay.
Right.
And then the healthy fats trigger these hormonal signals that basically tell the digestive system, hey, hold on, we're busy here. Slow the whole process down.
And when those signals fire, sugar absorption gets moderated.
It gets moderated. That's the key.
That's fantastic context. So our roadmap for this deep dive is pretty clear. First, we'll cover the 10 foods that really excel at delivering this stabilizing trio.
And we'll explain the specific biological mechanism for each one.
Then we'll wrap up with 5 simple, non-negotiable lifestyle habits that just reinforce all the good work you're doing at the dinner table.
Sounds like a plan.
So let's jump right into section 1, the slow burn stabilizers. I'm guessing these are the foods that build that strong foundation by forcing the body to digest intentionally.
This is exactly where we start building a better system. We begin with complex carbohydrates that, because of their structure, they turn from potential enemies into really reliable allies.
And the very first item on that list, it was almost universally praised across the sources, oats.
Oats, an excellent breakfast choice.
But the benefit isn't just generic fiber, is it? It's driven by a really powerful, specific compound.
It is. The star player in oats is a type of soluble fiber called beta-glucan.
Beta-glucan.
And that is the key to their unique blood sugar control ability.
Yeah.
Unlike insoluble fiber, which just adds bulk, beta-glucan is highly viscous.
Viscous, that's a great word. What does that mean practically when it's in your stomach? Does it turn into something sticky?
That's a perfect way to describe it.
Yeah.
Exactly. When beta-glucan mixes with water or your digestive juices, it forms this thick, almost gel-like solution. Think about mixing cornstarch into hot water. It thickens up dramatically. That gel isn't just a texture, it's a physical internal roadblock.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting for anyone trying to manage those spikes. This gel isn't just slowing down the oats themselves, right? It's slowing down everything else you ate with them.
That is the critical insight. This thick, sticky matrix, it lines your digestive tracts, especially the small intestine.
Wow.
And this lining physically gets in the way of the digestive enzymes. It makes it harder for them to rapidly access the starches and sugars in the meal. And it also slows down the movement of all the digestive contents.
So everything just moves more slowly through the system.
A process called gastric emptying. Because everything moves slowly, the glucose molecules are absorbed into your bloodstream over hours, not minutes.
So the result is the perfect scenario. Instead of that sharp peak in blood sugar after breakfast, you get a gentle, sustained slope. That's why oats promote such fantastic stability.
It's incredibly effective. And, the sources offer some practical tips to maximize this. While rolled oats are good, If you want the absolute slowest burn,
Seal cut.
you go for steel-cut oats. They're less processed, they have a higher physical structure, so your body have to work even harder to break them down.
And what about preparation? They say to eat oats with water, milk, or yogurt, but then they suggest adding nuts or a few berries. This isn't just for taste, is it?
Not at all. It's about compounding the stabilizing effect. It's nutritional layering.
Nutritional layering. I like that.
You take the beta-glucan delay system, and then you add 2 more stabilizers. Healthy fats and protein from the nuts, and more fiber from the berries. You've essentially fortified your speed bump with, I don't know, concrete and steel.
That concept of layering brings us perfectly to number 2, beans. This is a huge category. Lentils, chickpeas, kidney beans, black beans, and they are championed as a powerhouse.
Oh, they're a true double-threat powerhouse, especially for managing carbs. Most people are taught to fear starchy foods, but beans are the exception because they are loaded with both fiber and protein.
So 2 out of our 3 core stabilizers, right there in one package.
In one single, affordable package.
Let's focus on that fiber profile in beans because it's a little different from oats. How does the structure of bean fiber give you better blood sugar control compared to something like, say, white rice?
Well, beans have a lot of dietary fiber, yes, but they also have something called resistant starch.
Resistant starch.
And as the name implies, it's resistant to digestion in your small intestine. It travels all the way to the large intestine, essentially undigested.
So it never even gets converted into glucose in the first place.
That's right. It never hits your bloodstream as sugar. And when it gets to the large intestine, it becomes this crucial food source for your good gut bacteria.
That's a dual mechanism.
Exactly. First, the fiber and resistant starch slow down sugar entering the bloodstream by slowing down gastric emptying.
Yeah.
And second, that resistant starch improves your gut health, which has complex but measurable positive effects on your insulin sensitivity over time.
That's a major long-term benefit just woven into the meal. And meanwhile, the other half of that package, the protein, is working on your immediate needs.
The protein is absolutely crucial for satiety, for feeling full.
Right.
It helps you stay full, which is a key anti-spike strategy. If you feel satisfied, you dramatically reduce the chance of impulsive snacking or overeating later, which are common triggers for blood sugar spikes.
And they are so versatile. Soups, salads, chili, mixing them into rice bowls. I mean, just the transition from pure white rice to a 50-50 blend of rice and black beans is a massive upgrade.
It's an easy, sustainable swap.
Huh.
And if you look at the different types, lentils are just remarkable for how quickly they cook and how potent their fiber is.
Okay, that brings us to the third foundational food in this section, whole grain bread. The sources draw a really strong line in the sand here.
They do. This is a classic lesson in food processing. You have to understand the anatomy of a grain. It has 3 parts. The bran, which is the fibrous outside,
Okay.
the germ, which is the nutrient core, and the endosperm, the starchy center. When you make white bread flour, the bran and the germ are just stripped away.
And when you strip those away, you're removing the very things that slow down digestion.
You're removing the brakes. You're left with pure starch, which your body can instantly convert to glucose.
Eating white bread is like...
Well, it's a quick, rapid
Yeah.
spike, the exact opposite of our mission.
Whereas whole grain bread contains the entire grain, kernel bran, germ, and endosperm, the way nature intended.
And that whole structure is why it works. The fiber is still there, which ensures your body digests it slowly. That's the primary mechanism of control. Plus, you keep all the B vitamins and minerals that are lost during refining.
Now, the sources give one absolutely crucial, non-negotiable tip here for when you're grocery shopping. You have to scrutinize that label.
Yes. You cannot trust the word wheat or multigrain.
Right.
The crucial tip is to look specifically for the label that says 100% whole grain or 100% whole wheat as the very first ingredient.
What if it just says enriched wheat flour?
Then you're likely still consuming a product where the beneficial parts have been removed.
And the word multigrain is so misleading, isn't it? It just means multiple kinds of grain, not that the whole grain is intact.
It's a marketing trick. You could have 3 different types of refined flour. You need that 100% promise because that dictates the structural integrity, which in turn dictates the pace of digestion.
That's a perfect wrap-up for our slow burn stabilizers. The mechanism is all about high fiber content, physically slowing down glucose absorption.
And now we can pivot to section 2. Here, the focus shifts heavily toward maximizing protein and healthy fats. These are essential for satiety, preventing sudden hunger, and critically, protecting heart health.
We start with the foundational protein, number 4, eggs. The sources say they're simple, healthy, and high in protein, an ideal start to the day.
Eggs are nature's perfect little protein package. And it's not just that they have protein, but they have high-quality, complete protein, all the essential amino acids your body needs.
But for blood sugar management, the immediate benefit is all about that feeling of fullness, right? Satiety. How does that protein do a better job than, say, a fruit smoothie?
Well, this is where we have to look beyond just calories. Protein takes a substantial amount of time to break down.
Okay.
But more importantly, eating protein triggers the release of satiety hormones, like one called CCK. And that hormone signals to your brain that you are full and satisfied. That message is much more potent and long-lasting than the one you get from quick carbs.
So it's a deeply physiological benefit. The protein helps you stay full for a long time, actively preventing that crash and crave cycle that leads to bad snacking later.
Exactly. An egg-based breakfast sets a stable hormonal and metabolic baseline that can carry you smoothly all the way to lunch. You just bypass that whole mid-morning urge for a sugary snack.
And preparation advice is key here. Boiling, scrambling, an omelet with veggies, all great. But there's a specific warning against heavy frying.
The sources are very clear on this. The egg itself is brilliant. But if you load it up with excessive saturated fats or fry it in too much unhealthy oil, you change the entire nutritional impact.
Right.
We want the pure power of the protein, not the added strain of excess processed cooking oils.
Our fifth food, Greek yogurt, builds right on that protein focus. It's thicker, it's creamier. That texture difference implies a metabolic difference, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. The key difference is the production process. Greek yogurt is strained over and over again. And that removes much of the watery whey, which is where a lot of the natural lactose, a form of sugar, actually resides.
So that straining process gives you two massive benefits at the same time.
Yes. First, it concentrates what's left, so you get a significantly higher amount of protein per serving compared to regular yogurt. And second, by removing the whey, it often ends up with much less sugar than its regular counterpart. That protein concentration is its most valuable asset for blood sugar control.
So we get the satiety benefit, the protein keeps you full, but we're also getting an extra benefit related to gut health.
That's the bonus. Greek yogurt is a great source of probiotics, those beneficial bacteria that support your stomach health. And a healthy gut is increasingly being recognized as a positive factor in overall metabolic regulation.
The serving suggestions often involve that layering concept again. Eat it plain or add nuts and a few pieces of fruit.
It's the perfect use of that concept. You start with unflavored Greek yogurt to control the sugar. Then you add a small handful of walnuts for healthy fat and some raspberries for fiber and water. You've just created a complete mini meal where every single component works to slow down the absorption of the others.
Okay, our sixth food, fish, shifts the focus a bit. It introduces the non-negotiable element of cardiovascular care. We're talking about oily fish like salmon, tuna, mackerel.
And sardines, all prized for their omega-3 fats.
And this is where blood sugar management intersects with long-term preventative health.
The critical intersection. People with diabetes or chronic high blood sugar face a much higher risk of heart issues. That's because sustained high glucose can damage blood vessels and increase inflammation throughout the body.
So the omega-3s aren't primarily slowing down glucose absorption in the moment, but they're actively defending the body against the long-term damage caused by glucose issues.
Precisely. Omega-3 fats, especially EPA and DHA, are potent anti-inflammatory agents. They help modulate the body's inflammatory response and have been shown to improve markers of heart health, like lowering triglycerides.
So that recommendation of eating fish 2 or 3 times a week feels less like a suggestion and more like an integral part of the whole strategy.
It's preventative maintenance. And because these fish are also excellent sources of lean protein, you get the double benefit: heart protection and the satiety and stability that protein provides.
And again, the preparation method matters a lot here.
Oh yes. Stick to baking, grilling, or steaming. You want to maximize the benefits of those omega-3s without undermining them by deep frying or heavily breading the fish.
That transitions us smoothly into Section 3, where we look at low-impact nutrients and strategic calorie management. These are things that provide vitamins and satiety without spiking sugar, but they often require careful portion control.
This section demands a dual mindset. Maximize nutritional benefit, but be acutely aware of energy density.
We start with number 7, the ultimate filler food: leafy green vegetables. Spinach, kale, lettuce.
These are your metabolic workhorses. The sources highlight their incredible efficiency. They have virtually no sugar and very few calories. You can truly pile them onto your plate.
From a psychological standpoint, that's a huge win. You feel like you're eating a large volume of food. You feel full, but there's no spike.
The physical benefit is immediate. They're packed with fiber, vitamins like K and folate, and minerals. They create satiety through pure volume and bulk.
So they act as a physical buffer in the stomach, slowing the entry of everything else?
Exactly. They're the definition of low impact. You can use them in salads, soups, even smoothies. Making them the foundation of your plate is a strategy that always pays off.
Next up is nuts, number 8. Almonds, walnuts, peanuts, a widely recommended healthy snack. They have good fats. They offer long-lasting energy.
Nuts are fantastic. They are great sources of monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, fiber, and protein. Because the energy source is primarily fat and fiber, they are digested extremely slowly.
Which means sustained fuel without a rapid sugar release.
They stabilize blood sugar beautifully.
However, this is where that critical caveat, the energy density warning, comes into sharp focus.
This is probably the most common mistake people make. Nuts are incredibly calorie dense. They pack a massive amount of energy into a very small package.
And while the fats are healthy, too many calories lead to weight gain, which complicates blood sugar management.
Significantly.
So if the sources say we must only eat a small handful, how do we translate that into something practical and measurable for you, the listener?
We have to make it measurable. A practical small handful translates to roughly 1 ounce, or about a quarter cup.
Okay.
For reference, that's about 20 to 25 almonds.
Yeah.
Or maybe 10 to 12 walnut halves. You need to treat nuts almost like medicine measured out in precise doses. Never eat them straight from the bag.
Pre-portioning is key. That makes the advice immediately actionable. Okay, number 9. Berries, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. They offer a rare combination. They're sweet, but they're healthy. Why aren't they treated like, say, high-sugar grapes?
This is a case of nature's clever packaging. While berries do contain natural sugar, that sweetness is trapped inside a high-density matrix of fiber and water.
So the sugar isn't free to just flood your system. It's physically contained by the structure of the fruit.
Precisely. That structure is the key to their low glycemic impact. It forces your digestive system to work much harder to extract the sugar. This combination means your blood sugar rises slowly and gently.
And they're packed with antioxidants.
Absolutely. Especially anthocyanins, which are linked to improved cardiovascular function. They are the perfect sweet inclusion that supports stability.
Finally, we reach number 10. Avocado, the epitome of that healthy fat and fiber synergy.
Avocado is just a phenomenal food source. It's loaded with monounsaturated fats, the same heart-healthy fat in olive oil, and it's coupled with a really good amount of fiber.
And that high-fat, high-fiber combo means it has to be digested at an incredibly slow rate.
Absolutely. The main benefit is prolonged stability and massive satiety. It helps blood sugar stay stable, it keeps you incredibly full, and it provides that reliable, long-lasting energy that prevents those dips.
Which is why pairing it with eggs or whole grain toast is such a powerful meal structure.
The fat and fiber buffer the entire meal.
But just like with nuts, we have to revisit that calorie warning one last time.
Yes. Despite its immense health benefits, the avocado is extremely calorie dense. The sources strongly caution that eating an entire avocado in one sitting might be excessive, especially if you're trying to manage your weight.
So a moderate amount is key.
A third to half of a medium avocado per serving. That's the recommended controlled approach. The rule always remains. Healthy does not mean unlimited.
We've thoroughly covered the 10 stabilizing foods. Now, we have to shift our focus away from the plate and into section 4, the 5 simple habits. These are the lifestyle strategies that maximize all the dietary changes we've just discussed.
These habits are non-negotiable reinforcements. Diet alone is rarely enough. You have to optimize the daily routines that affect how your body uses the fuel you give it.
And habit 1 is the simplest of all, hydration. Drink more water.
Water is foundational to every single metabolic process. For blood sugar, it does a few critical things. First, it helps your kidneys flush out any excess glucose.
Okay.
And second, as the sources note, it helps control hunger. Dehydration often mimics hunger pangs, causing people to snack when they don't need to.
It's a cheap, easy way to support stability and prevent confused hunger signals.
Exactly.
Habit 2 is an absolute prohibition. Avoid sugary drinks. We've talked about what slows food down, but what makes liquid sugar so metabolically destructive?
It's the terrifying speed of absorption. Drinks like soda, sweet tea, energy drinks. They're pure, dissolved carbohydrate with 0 fiber, 0 fat, and 0 protein to slow them down.
So it's like injecting sugar directly into your bloodstream.
It is. It instantly negates all the hard work you put into choosing whole grains. The body is just completely overwhelmed, leading to the highest, fastest blood sugar spikes possible. Cutting out sugary drinks is often the single most effective change you can make.
Moving on to habit 3, meal timing and frequency. The advice is to eat smaller meals more often.
This is a more sophisticated management technique. The goal of small, regular meals is to prevent those big changes in your blood sugar levels.
So why is one big meal so challenging for the body?
Well, when you eat a massive volume of food in one sitting, even if it's healthy, you can overwhelm the pancreas's ability to deploy enough insulin quickly enough to handle the glucose flood.
Which leads to a spike.
It leads to a spike. And on the flip side, going too long without eating can cause your blood sugar to drop too low, which often leads to overeating later.
So smaller, regular portions maintain a gentle, continuous metabolic rhythm. It keeps the system busy but never stressed.
It's about managing the glycemic load hour by hour.
Habit 4 brings in physical activity, and I love the accessibility of this advice. Move your body.
We need to normalize movement as medicine. And we're not demanding complicated gym sessions. The sources emphasize that even a 20-minute walk each day helps blood sugar stay in a healthy range.
Why is that short walk, particularly after a meal, so incredibly effective?
It's pure biological leverage. When your muscles are active, they need fuel. And the most readily available fuel is the glucose currently circulating in your bloodstream from the meal you just ate.
So the muscles act like a sponge.
They act like a sponge, pulling sugar right out of the blood. It's a direct, immediate intervention to counter that post-meal glucose peak. It's the highest yield activity for the lowest effort.
And finally, habit 5 closes the loop. It's the personal calibration element, monitoring and feedback. Check your blood sugar regularly.
This is where you move from following generic rules to understanding your unique biological response. Knowledge is power. Knowing your levels, maybe checking an hour or two after trying a new food, helps you understand which foods, which portion sizes, and which strategies work best for your unique body.
Because everyone is slightly different. Monitoring provides that personalized data.
It creates an active feedback loop.
Well,
if you switch from white pasta to lentil pasta and your 2-hour post-meal blood sugar is 50 points lower, that data point reinforces the change far more powerfully than any generic advice. It becomes a science tailored just for you.
this has been a remarkably deep dive into practical science. We've established the metabolic rules, the need for fiber, protein, and healthy fats, and detailed 10 foods that maximize stability.
And we couple that with the 5 essential habits: hydration, avoiding sugary drinks, meal timing, movement, and monitoring. The entire framework is designed to manage the speed and volume of energy absorption.
So what does this all boil down to for you, the learner, who is implementing these changes? The core takeaway is that achieving steady energy is an exercise in structural eating.
That's a great way to put it.
Every time you choose a food high in fiber, protein, or healthy fat, you are deliberately building a structure that forces your body to absorb energy slowly, ensuring your day is filled with smooth, consistent fuel, not sudden spikes and crashes.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's really about shifting control. Instead of letting your blood sugar dictate your energy and your health, you're leveraging the physical properties of food to become the metabolic manager. Every meal becomes an informed, deliberate act of control.
That is a powerful synthesis. And based on one of the most accessible tips we covered, that 20-minute walk, I want to leave you with one final question to explore on your own. We learned that short walks are incredibly effective. So if a 20-minute walk right after a meal is such a quick way to regulate circulating blood sugar, what specific molecular mechanisms are happening inside your muscle cells during that brief exercise that makes them so hungry for glucose, thereby providing one of the simplest and quickest ways to regulate those levels?
A fascinating area to continue your learning journey. How short bursts of activity can fundamentally change your cell's behavior.
We hope this deep dive into your sources has given you a clear, actionable plan for achieving the steady energy you're looking for. Thank you for joining us.